champion select. Here it is. GENG on the blue side to start us off. And we'll see what they're going to be taking away first. Often we do see bans really evolve between series, but we don't often see Kalista and Varus not banned, so that's going to continue.
Yeah, saw them open in the previous series, not going to happen again, but we have started to see the evolution of some priorities come out. Sejuani seeing bans a lot more has been pretty successful so far. Vi just getting taken off the cards, which, you know, Neferi was struggling into Vi a lot, but even with the high prio on the Vi ban, still not as much Neferi as, you know, started when we thought it might be like super high prio, 100% to match what the LPL was doing towards the end. But
I think as well, like, Vi isn't necessarily like an instant win champion, but you just don't want to have to deal with Vi's existence while you're planning out your draft, because she can make things harder to pick. If you do have less carries, you know, she can really single out those single targets. So Rumble going to be banned away here. Kingan's Rumble has been epic this whole year.
Presumably got to be Gwen, you know.
True. No.
Jace, actually, this makes the Gwen pick even stronger.
Yeah, Keen, I imagine, was just asking the rest of his team, like, it's Gwen, right? And why? Like, what?
I guess maybe the theory was that if they left Jace open, then Keen could take
The theory?
Keen could take Jace, and then you end up playing Gwen into Jace, which is obviously not ideal. Maybe that was a theory, and obviously Jax is still open, which Kingan can play into it, which is a decent matchup. We get the Neferi Ahri. The
Nefarious duo.
A strong combo.
Ooh, that's pretty good, actually.
Instantly responded to with the Xin Zhao and an Azir, and I feel like we're just generally getting a lot of power picks coming out. I think if Kingan is looking to lock something into the Gwen, like the Jax potentially, you kind of need to grab it now.
It's probably not Rammus top lane.
Probably not.
I don't think that'd be
never
great.
Never say never.
Yeah.
But maybe say never this time.
Maybe the new the new iteration of Rammus, that's the magic resist stacking Rammus, is the way to go.
This is interesting to me, because with the Rumble and the Jace band, it was such a telegraphed first pick Gwen. And the fact that they're leaving the top lane pick until second rotation makes me think that Kingan has something in pocket he's ready to bring out against this that he doesn't think will be banned. So
yeah,
I'm hoping for something spicy. They do now, though, pick up the Kai'Sa, which pairs well with the dive aspects of the composition. And now looking to ban away picks on the other side. They take away the Xayah first off, which obviously we've seen a lot into the Kai'Sa and is good against dive.
Yep, and Ruler was the king of the Xayah Kai'Sa meta, so denying that matchup is probably a good idea, given his experience. As the Alistar going to be banned away. Lehen's pretty good at that champion, and there's the Poppy that goes as well.
Yeah, 2 picks, you know, I guess stopping dive, disengaging. Definitely a lot of value with Xayah and Poppy there. We'll see, do they ban something like Khan or maybe the Nautilus? Or do they think they can suss out what Kingan's going to play top? I feel like a Jax ban would be solid.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad.
In this situation.
I really hope, yeah, there it is. So I really hope that Kingan has a plan, like a really good idea.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, they're saving it to last pick. I do feel like at this point, I mean, there's still like Ambessa open and available. You could just slam something very standard, but I'm expecting something more. If you're saving it all the way to last pick, I'm thinking maybe there's something a little bit spicier, but we'll see. Now it's up to GENG to pick up their bot lane in response. Looking for some lane pressure, potentially. I mean, Braum Ashe would just be...
That sounds pretty good.
Pretty good here.
They don't have a lot of engage, but they probably wouldn't need that much, and with Ashe, that gives them the opportunity to just throw an arrow.
Yeah.
Instead, Ezreal would be...
Also works.
Yeah, pretty standard option.
I think as well, with how GENG's composition functions, and more so how Nongshim's composition functions, Nongshim are going to need to dive in, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think you can just pick champions where you stand back and say, come at me. Toying with the idea for the MF. MF not having the most fantastic setup here. I'm not really feeling it. I think if you want lane pressure, you could have just gone like an Ashe instead, and then would have synced better maybe with the comp. But they go for the MF. Does have that lane pressure over the Kai'Sa early, and the Braum is a pretty good matchup.
Oh, it's Diana. I forgot about this. Obviously, it's Diana top into the Gwen.
Yes. Well, this is kind of what I was talking about. Something a little bit spicier that they didn't expect to be banned. So clearly, Kingan has been prepping this into the Gwen.
I don't know about Diana top lane. It's been a while. I used to play a lot of Diana mid, but that was when she was released, which is approximately 12 years ago.
I guess one of the things with Diana is in melee range of something like a Gwen, like you want to get into melee range of the target. She is very bulky, she has really high base stats and the shielding that comes out. So I guess the plan is just to dive in if the hollowed areas dropped down by Gwen, you just don't really care. You're getting in her face and fighting.
Well, Kingen has been spamming a fair bit of the Diana in solo queue, and by spamming, I mean he played one game pretty recently. Otherwise, it's been 6. He's got a decent win rate on it, and it's kind of been working. All right, well, I'm very keen to see how this...
on GENG.
Oh, I'm very keen to see how this Diana is going to go, because we haven't seen her in a top lane ever before. I'm looking forward to the lower third that has... The last time this happened, never.
Wow. First time for it.
Unless it has happened, maybe like someone on Spenu Sonic Boom a million years ago played down a top just for fun.
2,000 days ago or something, I don't know.
Yeah, it probably actually has happened. There's so many things that played in so many different roles. Man, that is a throwback skin as well. Very interested to see how this one's going to go. Let's dive onto the rift for GENG versus Nongshim.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, Nongshim fans in full voice here today, as I do like the skinergy that's going on here. The Ahri and Kai'Sa skins are very well synced up.
Yep, that's good.
It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, so, you know what? This might surprise you,
Uh-huh.
Max. I haven't seen too many of the Diana-Gwen matchup.
Really?
In the top lane.
Well, maybe we should report that to G-Sun, and she can have a word with you. About that.
My bad, guys.
As Kingen just going to be checking around here. It's probably the Pale Cascade Max, right, in lane? The orbs? I think that's still what it's called. Is it still called? I don't even know.
You're the expert on ability names. You're the person I'm relying on for that.
Yeah, I think it's the ultimate's Moonfall. And it's a Crescent something.
It is definitely a Crescent something.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's called that, but it definitely...
This is the other champion that used to have a Crescent ability. It was called Crescent Sweep. Now it's Crescent Guard. Crescent Slash was an Akali ability.
Yeah, because they changed it. Because it used to be her ult was the dash, and her E was all in.
Yep. And Moonfall was, yeah, the E. But now that does damage. It used to not do damage. It used to just move you around a little bit. It's kind of funny. As Fisher is actually playing hyper-aggressive into Chovy. Damn, Chovy really standing his ground there.
Getting the electrocute value. I mean, that's the thing. If you can get the trade out, proc electrocute, and then disengage, you end up winning out over the, especially level 1. You know, not notoriously is his strong point.
Yeah.
Unless you're able to get those soldiers in the right spot.
Well, Fisher is now going to go in for it once again. Orbit Deception goes entirely wide, though, and that is going to allow Chovy to stay in the lane.
Yep, and get a grass proc as well, so going a bit back and forth, but I'm loving the aggression coming out from Fisher, looking to challenge Chovy.
Well, Foxfire continuing to do so. There's the electrocute. Very nicely done.
Keep playing around that cooldown. It feels like he's potentially fishing for like a Charm Flash angle. But I think just waiting for the electrocute cooldown and trading around that is the correct response, correct way to play it.
Oh, having a look here. I did want to have a look at Diana and just try and catch some of the top lane stats. But it looks like the rest of the world hasn't caught up to Kingen yet. As far as, you know, what he's getting up to up there. But it is going to be the Conqueror version. Seen mainly, you know, Conqueror picked up just in general. And so we'll just have to see how he's going to go. So far, it's not so good.
Kind of reminds me a bit of like the Akali back when Gwen was really strong.
Yeah.
Akali was picked into Gwen, likely for similar reasons of how you would play the matchup. So I think at 6 maybe is where you'll look to...
Huh. Well, he got solo killed. So, sorry about the lack of fanfare, everyone, but they were just kind of walking, and then Keen continued walking, and Kingen died.
As I said earlier, I haven't seen this matchup too much. Maybe this is how it's supposed to go. Maybe Kingen was factoring in he would die at level 4, but I'm going to hedge a bet that he probably wasn't. That generally doesn't seem too positive. I mean, my understanding of League of Legends as a whole suggests that maybe you don't want to get solo killed in a counter matchup. I think you're making
assumptions. I think you are making assumptions, and we need to give him benefit of the doubt. Let's have a look at this one more time.
Yeah, so Kingen kind of pushes for the level 4, and he's a bit more focused on the minions, and then maybe you should have just flashed that Q. Which, I mean, wouldn't it feel good to burn your flash? but it feels worse to die.
Yeah. Well, we'll just see how it continues to improve or not so much. As right now, we do have the lanes already swapped. King is going to be moving down towards that bottom side. You can see Keen just went for a reset and actually just walked on down there. So a bit of a tempo advantage here for GENG.
I've got to ask, Max, you said you looked at Kingan's recent solo queue games and he'd played a Diana game recently. Did he win?
No. Not in the recent one. He's played 6 games of it over the last week on his main account, and he won 4 of them.
Okay.
And a lot of those wins had a lot of deaths.
So maybe this is the strategy. Maybe you're supposed to die at level 4. We don't know.
Yeah, we've learned from other, professional top laners that dying can be a good thing.
And some supports. One support specifically.
See? And he may not be playing Elise top, but maybe that's how Diana works. I mean, Diana used to be a jungler.
Yeah, I will say Elise. 20 CS down on top of the kill deficit. That, again, I'm not an expert in the matchup, but that doesn't seem positive to me.
Yeah, and right now he's like, obviously we're not going to get a lot of great information because he already died at level 4. And so that is going to skew things pretty heavily in Keen's favor. As you can see, it's already a 720 gold lead, which, if I remember correctly, spins you around twice.
Yeah, maybe that's the critical point. Maybe he's like, okay, if I just survive the level 4, it's in the bag. That's like the critical point of the matchup. But unfortunately, he didn't survive the level 4.
Well, Keen is looking at level 6 right now, as Lehens is going to land the anchor on the wall and gets himself out.
King appreciating some alone time to maybe catch up.
I could imagine that that would be the case. As Fisher is now thinking of shadowing the Gwen, but not going to be able to do too much to him, as Ju taking a bit of damage from Ruler, who greets him underneath that turret.
Well, so bot lane, we kind of, to no surprise, losing matchup.
All right. It did actually win. Oh, the last, I knew there was going to be something, and it was Flame that played it. There we go.
4,277 days.
That is many years. I'm not going to do the quick math, but I think it's close to 12. I said I wasn't going to do the math, and it's probably closer to something else. It's 2013, so it is 12. I didn't actually see the date at the bottom there.
That is an easier way to figure it out.
The good old Season 3 Flame playing Diana top lane, which is probably close to when she was released, where you could basically play her anywhere and she would win.
Yeah.
For the first 3 days until she was hot.
That reminds me of Echo release when,
when
people were playing Echo support, and his ult, when you dash back and you deal damage, it had a 3 AP ratio. People would just play Echo support and then just E onto you and just one-shot you. And it was just like, okay.
Yep.
People didn't care where you played, it was just broken. Some champions on release were a little bit goofy.
Yep. I think Zyra and Diana were my 2 favorites. Yeah. Vladimir was also completely busted.
Fortunately, for those people who don't know what we're talking about, this is old League of Legends. Obviously, modern new champions are always really
they're
balanced.
Always incredibly balanced.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't think we've really ever... I can't remember the last time we've had a champion that was new and I've gone, wow, that champion seems very broken and super powerful. But maybe someday it'll happen again.
And they never have the same mobility that the old champions had either, I just feel like they never come out with any sort of dashing ability or anything like that, ways to reposition comfortably.
And I'm sure if a champion did come out, maybe who was really strong and really mobile, that he'd be nerfed out of the meta instantly and we wouldn't have a year of them playing the champion. A year plus in pro.
Ooh, that's a nice little hook coming out from Lehens as Dora just gives him the door.
Yeah, unfortunately it is Braum, so...
This is all going not so well for Nongshim. Okay, there's a bullet time. Jiu is almost just straight up dead as he flashes, but Ruler still just hits him with a Q.
Yep, can't flash an auto attack.
Oh dear. I mean, it's basically an auto attack as there is a nice Winter Spike connecting onto Lehens as well. And now Ruler is looking to line it up, but Lehens thinks he's found the angle and Ruler will go down, but not before he grabs a double.
That was personal to Lehens, but I think Ruler's still pretty happy with the trade. 2 kills for him. Substantial gold lead in the bot lane. Mid lane, I mean, Fisher's been doing fine.
There you go.
And top lane, still waiting for when this matchup picks up.
Well, the Rod of Ages is on the way, so any experience lead after 10 stacks will be somewhat alleviated.
True.
So there you
Plus,
go.
maybe, I mean, I don't think there's anything in Diana's kit along these lines. But, you know, there's champions like Kale and Caston who spike at 16. So maybe,
괜찮아.
maybe that's young.
페레
Ah.
상태 좀 많이 안 좋아.
Yeah,
잡았다.
he had to walk forwards to get out of it. I think maybe just flashing out of it would be the correct call, but
Yeah.
인만 노플.
hindsight to say. And ultimately, Jiwoo goes down. Had Ghost, by the way, instead of Barrier, so no defensive tool to mitigate that damage.
Yeah, it did look a little bit unfortunate there for Jiwoo.
Double Rod of Ages from Nongshim, so
We're playing for the late game.
we're playing for the Roe capitalization.
And they're going to need to utilize it, as right now GENG have taken kind of everything all over the map. You can see 3 grubs already done. They're looking for the first dragon of the game here as well, as Canyon is just chilling on that one. Gideon hasn't really been seen so far.
Yeah, you know what's kind of doomed when like Keen doesn't have TP, but Nongshim still can't contest what could be a 4v5. Not really gonna happen.
Yeah.
So.
Still, there's a lot of questions, and I just don't know whether we'll get the answers. This is the thing that I'm worried about. As a teleport in, we're looking for some grubs. And Kingin, he is another jungler. Doesn't have smite, but Gideon going to be over there as well.
Is this where Diana top shines?
There we go, being a jungler.
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
do know more about Diana jungle than Diana top lane, so.
Yeah. I personally thought the mid lane Diana was fantastic. There was a Southeast Asian player, his name was G4, and he was brilliant at the Diana, I remember, many years ago. As Gideon gonna hop over the wall, but Duro is still gonna just throw some Winter's Bite at it. What is it that Braum shoots out?
I mean, in the base skin, it's like it's like the frosty blast, right? With the ram horns.
What is a Frosty Blast? Is it a spiritual ram? Is it just a mini Ornn?
You know, like an aircon is going really strong, and you walk in front of it, it's like really cool.
Yeah.
That, but amplified.
Whoa, so he just like breathes really heavily.
Well, kinda, but he's
In your direction.
maybe just shoves the cold air towards you.
Huh. Pushes it with the door.
Oh, maybe this is it?
Trade? I mean, I can see that Keen's health bar is lower than Kingin's health bar right now.
Okay, well, not finding the all-in window there. This could be a Diana top lane loss. Could be. Early days, but it's not looking super positive right now.
And also, it seems like farming under turret's really hard because your passive just ruins the minions.
You kind of have to get to the point where you can just one-shot like a clump, but Roe not exactly giving you access to the early AP.
Yeah. Well, I'm still open-minded because it's only about a 3,000 gold lead as Keen's immune, but he's basically immune without the Shroud. As Jiu going for the more AD-focused version of the Kai'Sa does make some sense with the current composition.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just been the go-to now.
Doggos.
But it definitely makes sense with this comp, with double AP solo laners. And jungler's dead even in gold. It always just catches my eye when I see that, you know?
Oh, no.
Oh,
1 gold ahead for Canyon. Come on, Gideon. You need 1 gold back.
Is there anything that's going to give you 1 gold?
That charm hitting is...
It doesn't give you
doesn't
1 gold.
give you 1 gold. But Chovy getting a plate also not 1 gold.
Wait, Canyon had a 1 gold bounty for a second.
He's got a 3 gold bounty now. There's a 1 gold bounty on Gideon. That's so cool. All right, Keen's going to do it once again as Keen's in trouble. Does get the Moonfall, pulls Keen in. But, yeah, otherwise just going to be disengaged this time. Went way better for Kingen. Not as good for his turret. Still, went a whole lot better. And I guess this is the point where you say, did it though?
Yeah, I'm just thinking maybe our interpretation of counter matchups needs to be shifted a little bit, because my understanding of counter matchups is, at least at some point in the game, you want to be favored.
Got it. In the team fights, you have more AoE CC. As Gideon has more being dead. As Canyon is going to dive on top of him. Gideon now actually throwing down a fair bit of damage. Yeah, has the doggos, and now Kingen with no ulti, but he's pretty sticky on this Diana. There's a dash forward, and he does have the ult, but I think Canyon still did. Never mind, they get over the wall, and Duro just stands beside him. Oh, what the heck was that?
That looked like they finally got something going. Maybe a kill for Kingen, could have turned this game around, and they manage to dip out and get away. Canyon getting a pretty big heal there off the Sundered Sky.
That was highway robbery.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, man.
Ruler has taken this today's matchup relatively seriously.
Yeah. You know, maybe
Personally.
Coach Kim might have been all giggles, but
Yeah.
certainly not.
No. And Duro as well being a great cheerleader, as we saw in the last clip, as he's diving forward, protecting his minions. Stand beside Brom exactly oh god, yeah, that double up actually doing a lot of work. Still tanks the turret as Lehens gets the old flash. In comes Jiu. Can Ruler survive? That's the question, as Duro's going down as well. And Gideon just grabs a double out of nowhere.
Oh, Lehens again, this old flash mechanic. He's shown it before. So well played. Duro's like, I'm the target. I need a flash out. But his cooldowns unavailable. Leaves Ruler isolated, who also gets knocked up. Just really well played from Lehens, finding the angle, and a little bit disrespectful for the GENG bot lane.
I would agree. And now they can actually transition it into this Cloud Drake as well.
That's how your Coach Kim would not be laughing after that play.
Not anymore. And they've pulled back the gold advantage as well. You can see Gideon now with the lead himself. Lehens grabbing himself a bit of an advantage. It is a Hextech Soul. So that means that the next few dragons going to be even more pivotal.
Yeah,
Great hook connecting first.
I thought maybe he'd want to ultimate a tower, but instead ults here, Duro flashes, and the redirection with the ult flash catches out the MF. And then the follow-up's there. And this is what this composition does. They have that dive potential.
Well, Lehens once again in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have his flash, remember, but also Duro and Canyon don't have a lot of damage, so...
Yeah, Lehens kind of turned around there and looked like he was going to set up something up, but I think they were like, let's not risk it.
Yeah.
We are right next to that tower. How much throwing can we actually do and still win?
Well, Keen is going to take another turret, and that will just go down. No real response available, as Kingan's jungling, which is what we said was potential strength.
Yeah, Kingan's Roa isn't stacked yet, so I wouldn't have thought...
Oh, wait, no,
Keen's
jungling. I take it all back. Yeah, and now he's pushing on an inner turret, as the outer and mid lane is going down. Jiu really can't really afford to be here, as that turret is not long for the world. And in goes Chovy. Doesn't quite make the distance there with the Conquering Sands, but that is absolutely fine.
There's so much pressure now, especially against like an Azir and an MF, who are both quite strong. Chovy managing to just make a 20 CS lead appear, as he is to do. That, you know, he just has that ability.
Yep.
And now, just this threat that they have, this pressure from the Liandry's complete already on Chovy, from Ruler, who has a Bloodthirst, they can just push you out of the mid lane, especially as a Kai'Sa. We're already so far in the red for Nongshim in terms of gold, and it doesn't look to be getting better anytime soon.
Well, they are going to try to grab Keen here, who just immunes everything. Mainly by dodging it, as it turns out. Duro in position to try and defend, and Lehen's going to wander forward. It's going to give them all the information that they need, but also shows Nongshim that they're not going to be able to dive the Gwen. And Chovy is then able to step up in this top side. Canyon shadowing as well, just to make sure that his mid lane is going to be safe. And GENG just leaving no holes for Nongshim to fight back.
Yep, it has been pretty brutal so far. And you know, sometimes you have games from GENG where they do blow it out, but I feel like the slow twist of the knife is really the one where it feels most hopeless for the enemy side.
Yeah.
But at least, I will say they have a lot of engage tools, so hopefully they just find a window to throw everything in the kitchen sink at GENG. Probably lose the game off that, but at least they tried.
Yeah. I just want to see Kingan find a multi-man ultimate. You know, you can layer in a whole lot of knockups with the depth charge. There is wombo combo potential, and they do have damage.
I kind of want to see the Dana do something other than die level 4.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of hype, you know? It's... Okay, comparison. Has it been more or less deflating than the Yorick pick?
Well, the Yorick pick still had a really cute dark procession. That's he does have that, and that was very cute. As Fisher is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
As in goes Shelly at the same time. Gideon wanting to try and defend, but I don't think it's going to happen. And Fisher's not going to die, but the inner turret will. And there is only 2 more of them left.
The angle.
Okay.
This could go horribly wrong.
It could. Q going to connect, but I don't know whether Kingin is going to have too much of an opportunity.
Jiwoo had already left. He was like, no, the turret's up, I'm gone.
He lost all faith.
Yeah. No faith in the top lane Diana? Jiwoo, come on.
Well, he only has 5 stacks on his Rod of Ages.
Oh, if they had 10 stacks at that point, 100% they're all in.
Yeah, we need to hit the power spike. As 1 minute until the Drake. It's likely going to be the next point of contention.
Yeah, and speaking of power spikes, did you see Infinity Edge for Ruler? And Keen got the Nash's Tooth. And we have the Rift Maker for Chovy.
Keen and Ruler both have 2.2 thousand gold advantages, or plus.
Oh, but Lahens is 22 gold up, 21 gold. Hey, oh,
8.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Forget I said anything. Forget I said anything. It's all over for him.
Oh dear. I'm glad that we did have a small moment where we could have potentially thought about saying something positive for the gold on Nongshim. That was pretty good. As Lahens going to find his way in once again. Gideon diving on top of Chovy. Arakan getting involved as well as they use this as a leash angle. The rest of Nongshim are all already here. And Canyon's on the other side of the map, yeah. Was completely caught out. So now GENG, are they going to try and do the 4v5? That's the question. They're now looking for an angle as Keen dives in. And Kingin, not sure about that. Did get the ult off, but it didn't really do anything at all as Canyon's turned up. They've got 5 members now as Jiu splits to the other side, tries to hex gate out, and it was very, very sad. Chovy going to go back to the Arakan, picks that one up, and it was a worthy try, Nongshim. And unfortunately, it did not work in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to speed up the game, that is one way to do it. Unfortunately, not in a favorable direction. She kind of just leashed Arakan, and they're going to pick up this dragon as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, the force on Chovy is okay, but then Kingin dives in here and just gets basically one shot. And then although Canyon was a while away, like Canyon shows up. I don't think they needed Canyon to win this, but he does ensure they get a couple more kills on the back end.
Yeah, and I didn't even see the Moonfall do anything at all. It was a very weird
You know how you said
situation.
old Diana, like she had on an E and it did no damage?
Yeah.
Are we sure it does damage? No.
He's gone back in time.
Yeah, because that did not look like it did anything.
It did not. And that is going to mean that the gold advantages that we were talking about before have moved to 3,000. And they also have all of the Arakan advantages. They now grab themselves a Hextech Drake, and that is going to be amplified by good old Ruinous Arakan as well. And so GENG have all of a sudden got even more powerful, and they didn't even need to get more powerful because they already had like an 8,000 gold lead.
I don't know, can you spot any champions on GENG's team that would benefit from both attack speed and ability haste?
Huh. Yes.
You know, pretty good for them, I would say, overall.
They have at least the 2 best AP champions that can stack both of those.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
It's nice that you even have the Braum, who's like 5
true.
attack speed. Like you really hit all the bases. This is such a great Hextech Ruinous game.
Too bad GENG may not get any more dragons because they may get a Nexus.
They may get it, but Kingin, 2 stacks away from the rower and has a Rift Maker now.
True, skipped his shoes.
Maybe he was supposed to lose that last fight. Maybe this is how it's supposed to go for Dan. He did say he had a lot of he did say he had a lot of deaths in his recent games.
What was it? 474 for one of them. I can just go back and have a little bit more of a gander.
Assess the situation. Oh,
as Keen has found Gideon.
Yep. Oh, TP coming in.
Oh, Voidseeker is going to land as Jiu's going to turn up. Okay, Gideon goes untargetable, so he's out of this fight. But Fisher, he's the one that needs to try and catch him. And there is a gorgeous charm. Keen is just going to smell the roses for a moment as a golden Gwen, but almost manages to pick up the kill at the same time. Still, GENG going to be pushing on that top side. Teleport in from Chovy just to guard this mid-outer turret. And in the meantime, an inhibitor turret's going down.
Yeah, they can't defend this.
Yeah, it's just gone. Perplexing. I would say that the trade does favor GENG, but getting a kill helps morale.
Yeah. Well, helps.
That's all I got.
I can't argue with it.
Yeah.
That is pretty much what that offered. I mean, they... Oh, and this tower's gone as well. Well...
The gold is not an advantage. However, Nongshim...
They got a red buff?
Steal a red buff, exactly.
Oh, but Baron's not up yet, so it's only for Gideon.
Oh,
maybe...
Nongshim made sure that Baron wasn't even available yet?
Yeah.
When they left the top side of the map open?
But the thing I will say is that it's only 1 red buff, because I don't think anyone's going to be able to head down there and pick that one up.
The last Diana win was actually 474. did actually remember the right score.
Well, he needs 5 more deaths, and then the comeback can happen.
Yeah.
I think that's the lesson here.
There needs to be 8 other kills for Nongshim, though. And so we'll see how we do picking up those. As Lahens, he's going to get picked up by Canyon here. And Chovy will be able to deliver the death blow. Never mind, it's actually Canyon that collects that one. Kingen is going to take that as his invitation to go home.
Yes, this is the brush hiding part of the Diana top lane gameplay. Obviously, is
Thanks for that, Orcs.
now as an expert on top lane Diana, I can. That's something she likes to do often, is stand in the brush, and then recall after not doing anything. It's just, you wouldn't get it if you're not a Diana top lane player.
Well, I'm not, so I don't get it. We are going to get some bounty gold, though. So that's going to pull the gold lead back to 10,000.
Oh, it's just under 10,000 actually.
Oh,
so
never mind.
they are keeping it
Basically
closer.
even. They have the same number at the start of their gold.
With a little bit of debt forgiveness, Nongshim are basically completely even.
Oh, dear.
At what point do they just declare bankruptcy and then they can just wipe it all away?
Pretty soon is what I'd say. Kingen is going to be able to pick up the wave on the top side of the map, though. Does at least have his shoes now completed. As Ruler moving
the
back
10 stacks have been hit. This is prime time.
Wait. Is Fisher going to be able to find the angle? That's the question. Never mind. Lahens has already been caught out. Does buy a bit of time with the ulti, but it's not quite enough. That's a brilliant ult coming out from Duro as well as Kingen. He finds an ult under 3. And most of the damage is unable to follow up. Geo 1 shot away from being stunned. It's Fisher trying to be helpful, and that Hexgate actually gets him out.
Does save his life. The hands up at 20. Kingen in 30. Doesn't look like they're going to go for the end now. They are just going to go for the dragon.
Oh, wait. Is it going to be a potential angle?
Can't take that Hexgate. Execute.
Yeah, there it is. So he is going to be able to secure the execute. That does mean, though, that it's very... Okay, never mind. Gideon going to be able to pop over the wall. Nice jump just to play some defense. But as it's all happening, Ruler is taking a drag.
Gideon Fisher still haven't died. There is something... I'm going to pre-warn you, Max.
Please.
It's very unfortunate what happens. We're going to see the replay in a second.
Oh, dear.
I didn't want to draw attention to it, but just... I can't help it. Just watch the Ahri charm. Just focus on the Ahri.
Oh, no. Was there a minion that was quite... Oh, wow. Whoa!
A little bit unfortunate. I just don't think he expected Ruler to stand still and start channeling ultimate.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know, sometimes to not dodge is the greatest dodge. But,
read him like a book. Read him like a book. That was, you know...
The pages all stuck together. He just couldn't get it open, you know?
Yeah. That was a sad one. As GENG, they're going to look to start off the Baron. It's been up for 2 minutes time, and that is 2 minutes too long for GENG. So they will be able to punish this one, take it out. I don't know whether Nongshim are going to have too many opportunities to get in here. You can see it is a monopoly on the vision. Oh, yeah, Kingen has the ultimate back up again. As Chovy is just going to hold the ult. Not going to get baited there as Gideon goes untargetable, but it doesn't really matter. And now they take the Baron, and they take the lives of the Nongshim members. Oh, that is a...
It does not do damage.
It does not. It did not do very much of anything at all. As Lahen's going to be the next target here. Strovi just following him. Gio trying to do some tricky stuff to try and get out with the Killer Instinct, but unfortunately it doesn't quite work. As Duro trying to stay alive, it's going to be Fisher grabbing another kill as Chovy and Fisher now fighting. Chovy not with the mobility that Fisher has, and Ruler is done with this game and wants to just kind of end it. As Chovy is just going to send the Sand Soldiers forward, takes down the Ahri, and Lahens gives him a good old thumbs up and stops the back. And will also help Chovy get some more kills this game, and there it is.
Yeah, Chovy takes out his former teammate in Cold Blood. And I feel like Cold Blood, kind of accurate for how Nongshim are feeling right now. This game is very over, and it has been for a while.
It was. The Nexus goes down. It was an interesting experiment with the Diana top. I think that a few extra things went wrong. And I don't know whether I learned too much. I'm really hoping that Wolf and Wadid on the space are going to be able to come up with a good theory as to why it was picked in the first place. And obviously dying at level 4 was not planned, and maybe we just missed out on some of the greatness.
Look, we like Fearless. A lot of people like Fearless. I'm not trying to brag on Fearless, but it is denying us from seeing the Diana top again to learn more about it. So maybe we're starting to see a downside to Fearless, because
that's a really good point.
We could have learned more about Diana top and what she does. Like the brush standing, strategy.
From a different point of view, a different perspective, some people may say that not seeing Diana top again is a good thing.
Nongshim fans, maybe?
Yeah, perhaps.
6.3k damage. You know, maybe her ult was bugged and not doing damage. Maybe that's why it was so low. Perhaps.
I mean, honestly, everyone didn't do a whole lot of damage on the side of Nongshim. GENG
Yeah.
just kind of rolled over the top.
Well, I can say one thing. No matter what happens in the next game, cannot be as bad as this for Nongshim.
I would agree, and that is the cup half full energy that I expect from you, Orcs. Thank you so much for that one. It is time for us to take a short break. When we get back, the Space are going to break down that first game, and then we're going to have game number 2. See whether that goes better for Nongshim.
나필이부터 팰게. 나필이 패야 될 듯. 그냥 한번 팰게 계속.
잠깐 먹자. 먹자.
나필 밀어냈어. 먹었어.
야, 매운 거 없다.
매운 맞아. 나 다이애나 슬로우 천천히 볼게. 다이애나?
다이나. 이끌었어.
나필이 싼 거.
야, 얘들아 밑으로 가. 탑으로 가자.
나 노틸 노플.
너네끼리 나 탑간다. 매운 맞아줄 수 있어.
가만. 공 안 줄게요.
매운 없다, 얘.
형 뭐 여기 끝인 거 같긴 해.
나 살짝 본다. 이게 좋았어? 봤어요. 안 봐도 돼, 지금. 상관없어.
나필이는 이제 집 도착했다 만약. 나필 노플임.
형, 노틸 지금 집 가는 중.
그냥 같이 가면 끝나지 않을까?
공은 없어.
탑에 집 갔다 텔 탑으로 다 같이 가.
탑으로 가자.
나 노틸 탑을 막아겠는데. 나필 여기 있다.
Away,
Oh.
globally banning 10 champions.
Yeah, and also the overlay's bugged. It says 1 for GENG, but
Yeah, ignore that.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're diving into game 1.1. Zvaris going to be banned once again, or for the first time this year. Sorry. Oh, God. Can't do it.
It's too
Right.
hard. Okay.
Vi for the first ban of the second. I mean, it was played in the previous series, so there you go. But let's get a little bit serious here. Sejuani's likely going to go, things like that. And with blue side, could be that Nongshim can grab themselves something a little bit more high priority. They are
I
taking
think like
their time.
Kingan's Rumble has been really good.
Ooh,
Galio banned. I mean, okay, now GENG are going to want to ban Rumble. Unless they feel confident to play like the Jace into it. But we've seen that matchup not always be super Jace favored.
Yeah, there is now, so the Sejuani has to be banned, and now the Rumble does need to go. And so Nongshim, if they want to grab something as a first pick, they have their pick of the litter. Like, what is the next most overpowered champion that they could be first picking in this instance?
I mean, I feel like the fact that Kalista hasn't
Yeah.
walked in yet.
That's a big one.
We'll see. I mean, it's really, I don't think you ban Kalista or Rumble here for Nongshim, and
Really
then
like the
GENG
Bobby.
you don't either, because, you know, if they take the Rumble, well, actually, they opt to go in a different direction, so they don't want to play Kalista. I think it's just Rumble. They want to take the Jace side of the matchup, so interesting.
Ah,
I guess maybe they thought that the Jace ban would come out from GENG. Kingan clearly favor himself in this matchup over the Rumble. Does have pressure early with that range advantage.
yep, you can certainly play that one. Feels a bit more playable than the Diana matchup. Not that, why would I bring the Diana-Gwen matchup up in
Such a
like,
weird tangent.
yeah, why would I do
Gwen?
that? I've gone back 12 years.
Yeah. Is that the last time we had a Diana top?
Yeah, it was.
You know, I feel like it's probably something Flame would play.
Yeah, it does sound like something like that. Wow, you are such a historian of the LCK Orcs. How do you keep it up?
I do try.
It's very impressive. The Ezreal going to be locked in here though, and that is another huge one for Ruler to get his hands on. Of course, wasn't banned or even sort of touched in the last game, I think, in the previous series, I guess. The Skarner going to be hovered at least, and that is pretty high priority. It does leave the top lane still open, and it is something that Keen might want to lock in on their third round just because the Jace is already locked.
Yeah, maybe
Although
hesitant
still
about...
flexible.
I mean, they could pick Rumble with the Skarner, which we've seen be a really powerful combo. You kind of just hold them over the barbecue.
Yep.
But still not wanting to fully commit to their top lane matchup yet. Secured an AD carry and jungle of choice. Nongshim looking at the potential of this Aurora.
That'll be locked in.
Interesting, because I feel like, you know, Aurora priority's fallen off a bit, been struggling to find wins in the LCK. The big three typically have been Azir, Ahri, and Talia. And Talia obviously hasn't gotten a look in yet, so maybe something that Chovy could lean towards, but to be fair, Chovy, pretty wide berth in terms of champion pool.
Wow, Zeri would be pretty early, it feels like. But they could then use bans to try and protect it. They are going to lock that one in with Vi banned and Nautilus already picked, or globally banned, sorry. That is giving Zeri a lot of free reign. Jiu has been a phenomenal Zeri player throughout his entire career, as that's a scary prospect. I think a lot of us have some Chovy Victor in our minds relatively fresh.
In fact, if you were watching during the break, showed the top 5 plays
there we go.
from LoL Esports, and you know what was at number 1?
I think it was probably Chovy.
Yeah, it definitely was. So obviously really comfortable in this champion. I think there are, like, you know, Aurora in a team fight can cause some issues. The poke from the Jace can be problematic. It's interesting though that they've opted to leave Keen kind of to wait until the second rotation to counter this Jace or pick something he can manage into it.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to keep the support pool as open as possible, sort of bait out some top lane picks. I wonder whether they do still ban the Rumble. That's my big question, because we know Kingen picked the Jace, understanding the Rumble was up, and so instead they're just going to go away from it. It is going to be the Leona taken away from Duro.
I think clearly just respecting the matchup enough that they don't want to play Rumble in a Jace perhaps, and Nongshim are like happy to take that matchup. I think the fact that we've seen this gauntlet thrown down from Nongshim means they're like confident in that matchup, and they think that King is able to dominate Keen if he ends up taking that handshake. Nocturne going to come out as a ban towards the jungle.
A lot of junglers banned actually, especially on the GENG side, as we can see. 4 out of the 5. Theoretically, 1 other jungler, as you can somewhat classify Poppy in that area.
Yeah, still like Wukong available. Still like, I guess the priority kind of drops off at this point. Like really, it's like Wukong's the most played jungler that's kind of left open available. You could look at something like Ivan, but kind of fringe, and they do end up banning the Rumble in the end. So even though clearly they were confident if the Rumble came out from GENG, they're like, you know what, let's not hand that over to them for free.
Yeah, so the Alistar being considered at the moment does mean that they'll sacrifice a bit of lane control in the early stages of the game.
Just interesting to leave it all the way, leave that top lane pick all the way to last, and it was a first pick top lane for Nongshim. And this makes me wonder what they have in the bag for Keen. And all of the side of Nongshim, definitely want some form of front line at this point, especially when there's such a massive front line on this side for GENG. Then we're going for the Wukong, highest priority jungler left open, a lot of team fighting power.
Is it Lulu? I feel like it's a Lulu angle. Oh no, never mind. It's like, it's Shen, it's Elise, it's something like that.
You know,
that's what my hands is picking.
Lulu's taken a few hits in recent patches. He's been nerfed like 2 patches in a row, and I think there's a 3rd one coming next patch, so maybe might dissuade some from going towards it.
Oh,
Rakan though, I love Rakan Wukong as a combo because it's so easy to dash to him and follow up.
Yeah.
Really good CC laying, especially into an Ezreal or into a Victor. I think it goes a long way. Sion.
Sion, this was another one that was in the good old top 5 plays.
Bin, yep.
Gigabin finding the huge Q. See whether King can do the same thing, as he is going to lock that one away.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's interesting that they opted to save the Sion pick to last. I will say this is a very bulky composition from GENG, but it's also a 2-carry composition, and there's a lot of dive on the side of Nongshim. Like, if you land a Shock Blast onto someone and they're just zoned out the fight, really hard to play if it connects onto Ruler or Chovy. If you have that late engage onto them, and for some teams, I could see this being a struggle, being like, okay, if either of your carries mess up, then where is your damage coming from? but I think this is Gen G to a T, and they have a lot of trust in Chovy and Ruler.
Yeah.
And they have so much bulk to protect them. I think it is going to be so hard to cut through all that.
I agree. I do think that there is a lot on Duro's shoulders. I think that Headbutt Pulverize is the most reliable CC that they have, and hitting that is going to be what kills Jiwoo. There is nothing else that is going to be nearly as consistent, and so Duro is going to have to be in the right place at the right time, finding that carry if he wants to take down the Zeri. There is a 4-threat comp, theoretically, though, out of Nongshim, so damage is going to be aplenty on their side. The one thing that I have is, moving into this game, if there was a game 1 and it did have a Diana top lane in it, I do think Nongshim have a better chance in this game if that game happened.
I think that's a correct statement. It's a bit of a weird example to bring up.
I know, it's sort of out of nowhere, but you brought up Flame playing it 12 years ago. So
yeah.
I just thought that I'd follow up with some facts of my own.
Good specifics.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get specific, and we are specifically into game number 2, apparently.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for one of the games in this series. And apparently, if Nongshim lose, the series is over. However, if they win, they have a chance to go 2-0. That's word on the street.
Word on the street, yeah, of course.
And now also, the idea of Nongshim being able to be first in the LCK is gone. The best they can do is tie.
Yeah.
With first place.
Tied fair still good. I will say something though. This is the sort of game that makes you really miss Cut Down and Giant Slayer on Lord Dominic's.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of value in this game.
There is a lot of health.
A lot of health.
Have we
seen
seen
a chunky team?
What about Leandri Zeri?
I'm unconvinced.
Okay.
But maybe.
Just thinking, you know, trying to get rid of some of that maximum health, which I think might be a somewhat positive maneuver. We're going to see Lahens and Jiwoo taking a little bit of poke damage here from Ruler and Duro, and they do manage to get that ward. Nicely played there.
Yeah, I feel like you can be pretty aggressive with Rakan into Alistar level 1, because you can hit the Q and just sustain up, but Ruler is landing pretty disturbing amount of Mystic shots.
Yeah, there's a Flash Pulverize as well from Duro. They are not pulling any punches. Jiwoo trying to get those burst fires down. You can see Ruler just walking up. Lahens, thankfully, able to smack him back down there just a little bit, but drinking their potions, licking their wounds.
Yeah, and honestly, Nongshim bot lane not respecting the notorious Alistar level 1.
True.
Yeah, but honestly, a pretty heads-up play. You know, Ruler got some good Mystic shots in. The Q flash came up from Duro, and even though Jiwoo is trading summoners evenly, the health discrepancy means he has to recall. This is horrible for Nongshim's bot lane. Great play from Duro.
Yeah, Lahens trying to pull that wave, but Jiwoo just going to try and skate his way back here. Has a refillable now, but doesn't have any summoner spells and is in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, also still level 1.
Yeah, and
couldn't even skate back over the terrain to lane.
Like, Hens might get level 3 though, and so that's a thing. He'd have Battle Dance as well.
Not sure exactly how you'd want it to go, but, you know, glass half full. I like the attempt.
Trying the best I can, because that was a very worrying situation. Jiwoo thankfully didn't die, so I guess there is that. Genji to the tune of about a 200 gold lead off the back end of that one happening is, all right, Lahens going in. He's not able to go back just yet. Exactly, and so maybe that was that benefit that we were talking about. Pulverize is going to mean that that Mystic Shot does cut him down.
I will say if Jiwoo had died in that initial play, would have been back to lane quicker.
True. That's really the cup half full. Even making excuses for the theoretical things that could happen as Lahens finds another knock-up onto Ruler. Canyon is here, gets the flash and just pulls Jiwoo out. Remember, he doesn't have any sums. That is going to be the headbutt back, and that is going to be first blood over to Ruler.
Just bounce house to such a ridiculous degree, and I think this might be an omen for later this game. There's a lot of bounce housing available to this composition.
I'm a bit worried for Jiwoo's prospects in this one.
It's not been a good start for him.
No. There is thankfully more damage on the rest of the map. Maybe that is something that they can hold on to as Fisher with some more electrocutes. But Duro's back! And the headbutt has to be flashed here from Fisher to get him out of the way of the cow. And Duro is just making plays.
Yep. He is being very proactive as bot lane is already over.
Yep.
And he's moving about on the map.
My work here is done.
Yep.
And I think you might be right.
Ezreal as well can farm super safely into any matchup. We'll see this play.
끝.
Yep, just
오케이,
said
나이스.
good.
Flash
와,
grab.
지렸는데?
Sam's house.
대광부.
Beautiful.
제리. 와, 막 미치네. 와, 막.
I think he was pretty happy about that. Duro's back, and he's getting more work done. Is okay. Duro's just incredible.
Duro rising to the challenge. You know, up against Lehens, the player, he had to fill the shoes off, and you know what? Those shoes are looking pretty tight at the moment.
I would say so. I think he needs to size up, as Kingen is going to walk on over. Lehens does find a knock up onto Chovy, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough.
Flash. Oh, the thumbs up. Chovy.
Oh, no. If that was anyone other than Lehens, Chovy would not have done that thumbs up. But it's Lehens, so obviously
That's
he
against
has
his
to.
mind. So, what?
What?
The teleport there.
Huh?
Fisher.
Fisher?
Fisher, I said nice things about you. Don't make me a liar. What? What's that?
That was so weird. Okay, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that.
Did he not
replay.
see the teleport, or did he not see the Alistar, or both? You know, like...
Yeah, maybe like the Alistar was they've got Alistar-shaped minions now? This is crazy. Nico shapeshifted accidentally into the game as a minion.
Yeah.
As Duro is just going to try and affect the only lane that he hasn't affected yet. As Gideon has started up the grubs. Looks like Canyon is going to come on over, so probably going to be a trade of a few of these. Gideon will at least be able to get one. Oh, down. Oh, 1 health! Okay! That was terrifying.
Yeah, just a little bit. Cool, calm, and collected.
All right,
Not at
Gideon
all.
making his way over. The train has left the station, but it was looking for Jiu, so we might need to check in on that one once again. Fisher doing a lot of damage here as Arcane Shift gets Ruler out of the circle. Gideon's still back in, though, and should be able to grab a bunch of these grubs. Canyon making his way over, wants to try and kill the Hands, which seems to be the GENG game plan.
Yeah. So you hear the train noise from Sion. Take a little look on over at Jiu with some of the spells.
Aha! That may have been a successful use of the Arbor.
Yeah. Fortunately, not having so much fun in this game, in this series, in
Hey,
general.
he's within 10 as far as CS gap.
Yeah. Just ignore the kill.
Yeah.
I feel like if you ignore a lot of the information, things don't look so bad.
If you ignore a lot of information, the world can be exactly what you want it to be, Orcs.
Oh, where did his dash go? Well,
There have been some quizzical replays.
yep. I like that one wasn't full screen because I just don't think we needed to see that in all its glory.
Yeah.
I think it's a little unfair to Jiwoo.
Yeah. I was actually not paying attention. I was looking at you at the time. So I feel like I really did the play justice.
Probably for the best.
Yep, I would.
Perhaps Jiwoo was also looking at me, and that's why he didn't see silent.
Well, he is not going to be looking at Duro for much longer, as he's just going to back away. Ruler down here in the bottom lane once again. Will be able to lock down the cannon minion. So there we go.
Always there's a little bit of hesitation as it gets close, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But he had it under control.
It's a very, it's a big point of drama on the Rift. All right, I'm just wondering where Duro is going to strike next.
Yeah, he's been kind of bot lane, well, not bot lane, but hanging out with Ruler for a little bit too long, in my opinion.
I
Got
know.
places to be.
Well, now he goes back, so he's doing what we want.
Fisher's flash is still down for a little longer. You know, Kingen hasn't gotten much attention yet this game.
Yeah, actually, you know, things going quite well. But Keen with a gold advantage as Sion at this stage of the game has a level lead as well. I feel like that is not a great sign for the Jace. That probably should be making a better start happen than this.
Nope. It is not ideal. And again, I feel like if you fall behind against a GENG composition, you are going to massively struggle to cut through anyone. And by anyone, I specifically mean Sion, Alistar, and Skarner. So,
yeah.
Yeah, already a little bit of a struggle. We saw the vision toggle there. Looked like maybe Duro was around, but he is walking up from bot lane. Fisher is low already.
And Lehens has now walked up to Chovy, but Fisher is not interested in trying to kill the enemy mid lane, As, okay, never mind. There's a knockup from Lahens. Chovy gets ulted here, but the Chaos Storm does come down, and Fisher is out of there. Another headbutt back. Is Gideon going to get knocked up and taken down relatively low. That was actually a cute use of his stop function, as the Warrior Trickster was on cooldown. He's just going to walk his way out.
Yeah, honestly, I think Nongshim pretty happy with that. Get the flash from Chovy. Potential for a regank on that one. Meanwhile, Ruler is winning trades while standing in 6 minions.
Well, Ju is certainly in a rough spot in this game.
You know, I've got to say, the art for different items, there's some items that look powerful, right? You see it completed, you're like, yeah, that's an item.
I know what you're about to
And
talk
there's
about.
some items that whenever I see them in an inventory, I'm like, you are weak. You have no. And it's the Scout Slingshot. It never looks intimidating. I see that in your inventory with a Doran's Blade and a Longsword, and I'm like, you've got nothing, brother. You've got nothing on display.
Yeah, the little hatchet thing as well, I've never found has very much power.
No,
and
that thing always looks underwhelming.
Yeah, and what about, which Catalyst looked the most intimidating?
I think
the old one or the new one?
The old one.
Yeah, I agree.
The new one looks, it just looks like you kind of,
it looks too much like Heart of Gold.
Yeah, it just kind of blends in a little bit too much.
And theoretically, functions actually better.
You know an item that looks, when you see it, you're like, okay, that's an item, Eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
That is an item where I'm like, okay, someone's doing damage.
It especially feels good when there's no boots in the inventory as well, because you know that was a satisfying back.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's all right. Nongshim looking for the 5 grubs once again. We have seen 5 grubs not necessarily work as well as it could, as Lahens is down very, very low, but he's just trying to keep them away. 4 grubs will be locked up, as now Canyon making his way in, does manage to lock one down, but Lahens is still just playing with him. He's got a blast cone he can mess around with as well, and that is actually going to be effective.
Chovy's given up.
Yeah, this is so weird. I don't know which fight to commentate, as Duro's going to get hit by a shock blast. There goes that last grub, as 5 do go over to Nongshim. Lahens is in the enemy base now. He's like, wasn't I on this team? This is the team I was on before, right? As there it is, Soul Furnace, and that is a kill going over to Keen.
Yeah, well, he stole for time. He allowed his team to escape. I tell you one thing, though. You know we were talking about the 5 grub to 1 ratio, the win rate, how it was really high?
Yeah.
Not looking as positive.
We might be reversing it as we speak.
Maybe by looking at the win rates, we cursed them.
That might have been a factor.
You know.
I need to apologize to those who are collecting the stats. Casters should never look at it.
Yeah, right? I mean, obviously, I think people think of stats as like a pure thing based in math, but it's a lot of vibes, you know? It's a lot of... It's very mystical, I think it's safe to say.
And Kingen going to do that standing in a brush and then looking to go back type situation one more time, as Fisher in a bit of trouble. Canyon making his way forward once again, but the jump scare not going to be able to take him down, as Kingen on the gravity well. Oh no, that was gorgeous from Duro.
Oh, that is a heartbreaker, honestly. And Lahens, unfortunately, didn't have the ult. Familiar.
It would have been so good from Lahens as well. Duro is just playing like a man possessed today.
Yeah, he is doing a lot of work.
All right, he's continuing to do so here as another pulverize onto Lahens, but Lahens is just doing his very best to be in the faces of GENG.
He's just kind of trying to be annoying.
I think he's been successful.
Yeah. Not really achieving that much, but he's... if being annoying is the goal, he is definitely doing that.
Yep. Chovy will be able to take down this ward. Duro faking it back as best he can. And we've got 80 carries positioned in the mid lane. So the gold nowhere near as dire as what we saw in the previous game, as Keen is trading very, very well with an Aurora that feels wrong. Doesn't have an item fully completed yet, but he is looking like he's going to have at least Frozen Heart very, very quickly.
Yeah, I love how he's built armor into, and he's playing now into Aurora, just winning.
Yeah, seems to be
I
fine.
don't think they kill him.
I don't think so either, but Lahens is here. Duro is also here, though, and Lahens is taking a whole host of damage. Phenomenal Impale is going to come through. One of them is a clone, though, as Lahens, there it is. Somehow it's Canyon that picks up the kill, actually. I thought that was an auto attack following from Ruler. Ruler probably thinking that as well, and he's probably exclaiming about it.
The bleed that he has.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think if all 5 members of Nongshim were there, I still don't think they would have had time to take down Canyon. But the fact there was like 2 of them, especially just the Wukong and the Rakan, seemed ambitious.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that Duro is almost guaranteed to be everywhere he needs to be on the map.
Yep.
So once again, actually performing very effectively there, as Keen just being a Scion.
He just does no damage to him.
Yeah, which, like you say, he hasn't really built for this particular matchup.
That is a big shield already, though.
Yeah, didn't seem to.
This Scion is going to be a problem. This Scion already is a problem. And I think Nongshim, you know, I think one of the problems is playing the GENG. One of the styles they've been so effective at is these structured 5v5s where they kind of form a death ball.
Yeah.
This comp is perfect for that. I think, honestly, Nongshim need to, like, find windows to catch isolated members, pick apart GENG. I think in structured 5v5s, it's going to be so hard from here on out. If you can find someone isolated, different story.
And the difficulty is that the self-peel from Ruler is massive. The fact that Chovy has Rod of Ages, so he's basically a tank, takes way too long to take down. Add to that, this Hextech Drake that GENG already have a couple of dragons stacked towards. This Soul could be, I mean, it'd be impossible to play into it, but if they do get Hextech Soul, the game is likely over anyway. We're going to need a Zeri moment, and we're going to need one as quickly as possible. Yuntal is done.
Maybe 2.
Yeah. We're going to need some serious certification.
Yeah. Kingan's been farming up a decent lead in the top side, but that's kind of the only shining light right now. And again, his lead is over a Scion, who I just think ultimately doesn't care.
Yeah, he will still have a lot of buttons that do a lot of great things as this game goes on. The one, I do have the cope, I do have the positive.
Oh, I need it right now. Give it to me.
Right, it is 16 minutes into the game.
Yep.
And this time in the last game, okay, never mind. Canyon is looking for Lehens. He'll find him one more time as Ruler is there as well. Battle Dance gets Lehens out of there, and somehow he survives. That bleed that killed him before is not going to work out this time, and so no triple deaths for Lehens.
Well, that's a positive, right?
Here we go. That's on top of the cope that I was about to lay down, which is the fact that they are nowhere near as far behind as they were in the last game.
I did say this game could definitely not go as bad as the last one that we agreed not to talk about.
Yeah, true. The game that didn't exist is that was really nicely sidestepped from Kingan. Just avoids Canyon very, very well. And it's still going to be this top outer turret taking a bunch of damage from Chovy, but otherwise, no one's dead.
You were not far away from it, though. You know, foot in the grave, perhaps, is how you describe it, as Ruler keeps putting that pressure down.
Yeah, all right. Durr going to get knocked up. He is level 6.
He is also an Alistair.
Yeah. It's all right. Canyon now just going to say, Gideon, please. I would prefer it if you didn't take my Rift Herald. Gideon is going to hear that loud and clear.
Canyon's really going for these hard steel stacks. He wants them. I respect that approach.
Absolutely. I didn't even think that that was why he was just walking towards the enemy team, as another headbutt comes forward. Charm does come through, though, from Lehens, but he's just going to explode before he can really use it. That is going to be a steal, but the eye, I don't think, is going to get picked up. Gideon, never mind. He does get over there, takes that one down, flashes over the wall, stays alive, and they've got a blast cone to take the two of them out of there. That means the Fisher is by himself, though, as Kingan, wanting to kill Ruler, and Ruler says no. And there's 2 damage dealers up there towards the top side. And that means that it's easy pickings onto the Jace. There is definitely some consolation, as Duro might be in trouble here as well. Doesn't have the Unbreakable Will. As you here towards the top side, he can skate over. They do want to take him down, but I don't think they're that brave.
I mean, they got the Herald, so it definitely could have been worse.
Yeah,
but not ideal. I will say, I found it very interesting, Canyon's decision on where he took Gideon, because he like took him. I thought he was going to put him through the Herald, and he's like, never mind, I'm taking you away. But still, Gideon able to Wukong his way over and pick up the eye.
I think the escape was very
escape
well
was slick
as well.
Kingan trying to find escape, but then it's like, hey, maybe I can just kill him. No, he can't.
Yeah, and Ruler also took like 2 turret shots during that exchange, and now, oh dear, oh wow. Okay, well, let's see what.
Line it up. You can do it.
Yeah, Canyon, he's through the wall, and yeah, unfortunately, if Canyon's already in the wall, if you go into the wall, you will get stopped by Canyon, who is in the wall. And there he goes. Scorpion grabs that kill. Same time, Fisher is now looking for an angle onto Chovy, but Duro is, of course, here, and he is defending his mid laner.
He's just everywhere.
This
everywhere he needs to be.
We are moving towards perfect game territory. I know some grubs were picked up by Nongshim.
And Herald.
Yeah, and a Herald. However, maybe we just don't include them in the perfect game stats, and then GENG are right on track.
Yeah, I feel like it's so much harder to get a perfect game now than it used to be, because like, what, if they take 1 grub, is it not a perfect game?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So do you just go back to what the original terms of a perfect game were? Because otherwise, all the other perfect games are ineligible, right?
Yeah, which was just kills and towers, right?
Yeah, kills and towers and dragons.
Oh, okay. And I guess
Barons, yeah.
And I guess Adakan.
Yeah.
But like Adakan's not the original, but like if someone took Adakan, you couldn't really you couldn't call that a perfect game, right?
Yeah.
아니 이거
I don't, well, yeah, that's the thing that's a bit confusing about it.
Adakan just feels like such a significant objective. It's weird to say perfect game, but they got Adakan.
지리는데?
Wow. I think Ruler is having a good time here, ladies and
Joining
gentlemen.
Ezreal.
Yeah, that's very true. He's just generally having a good time. As Zero underneath the turret is going to knock up 2 people and a clone. As the turret does actually go down.
Yeah, which honestly, I feel like Keen maybe could have just killed King in there, but decides to let him live for another day.
Okay, Canyon. This time it's not going to work.
Very ominous skarnering.
That was very scary. Chovy just clearing out vision.
Especially with
they
the
are
skin,
pushing
he
him
like
lane.
has the buzzsaws to the side, and he's just like,
Yeah, the lawnmower skin.
yeah.
It's definitely one of those epic lawnmowers, you know, the ones that can do a whole lot of different functions and can like mow lawns that are like growing up the wall and stuff like that. Anti-gravity lawnmower. It's very
Oh
impressive.
yeah. I think my parents had one of those.
Yeah.
I don't have a lawn, so I don't personally have one, but I guess any standard homeowner has an anti-gravity lawnmower.
I'm pretty sure that that's what it is now. I've been living in apartments for too long, but I imagine that's where the technology's at. As Teleport is going to get Keen in there, and of course, he's happy to teleport in amongst everyone. That is going to be now feats of strength picked up as Kingin gonna boop Canyon out of the wall. That's nicely played, and GENG taking a lot of damage here. Dude, they are able to get behind him. Ruler down to 50%. Is this gonna be the moment here? As there's the flash forward, but Giu's able to dash his way out, and now the grand entrance comes in. It's 1 kill for the Zeri. Keen turned into a zombie as Chovy now there with a whole bunch of damage. Ruler as well, not a lot of mana, but is certainly able to still contribute. As Duro able to limp his way out. Giu running the wrong direction, but Nongshim, it was so close to winning a fight, and I honestly think they kind of did. As True Shot Barrage going to pick up the kill on a Fisher, never mind.
Never mind. So close, so close. They had the edge, you know. It looked like they'd finally able to trade up in terms of a fight. Deny the perfect kill game, I guess.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, with a True Shot Barrage at the end, does end up being just a 2-for-2. I think GENG just weren't fully ready for this fight. You know, Nongshim split away pretty beautifully, and then they corral back in, and they find access on a Chovy.
Well, speaking of access onto Chovy, Kingin is just going to kill him.
That's a big shutdown. And a good move there from Kingin.
Yeah.
He's not ready to give up on this game. And actually, the gold lead closed quite substantially, only 2,500 apart.
I mean, that's the same as it was like 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, which is coincidentally the amount of gold between the mid laners right now.
So, if Chovy's dead like he is now, and Adakan could almost be an even fight.
Yeah.
If Fisher isn't here. As Dura goes in, that is a lot of damage onto Lehens. As Ruler is still piling on even more of it.
So low. No. This is bad. This is
Yeah,
bad.
this is not what you want to see. Ruler does take a shock blast, but there's the train. Giu's going to skate out of the way. But now the rest of Nongshim, they have to leave.
Guys, Chovy's up. He's got TP. Just leave. Just leave. Let it reset.
God, yeah, the teleport in.
It.
All right, Gideon, he desperately wants to be here so that he can go for this. As now the Chaos Storm comes in, the Death Ray's there as well, but Giu's able to get over the wall. Lehens is dead, and the Adakan was picked up by GENG thanks to the leash, and oh god. Fisher not able to get over that wall, but still able to use the ulti to create the amount of space that he required. So Nongshim lose the fight, but not as badly as they could have otherwise lost the fight if more bad things happened.
I was going to say that could have gone far worse, but it didn't go good.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Nongshim overestimating their ability to kill Adakan. You know, we've had Adakan around for a pretty long time now. Oh.
Yeah, that's a teleport in. They're going to see whether they can get Ruler out of here, and he does get quickness and may actually go down. However, Canyon over here, he's able to destroy the Wukong, and they're just immortal. Yes, they did get one withdrawal, but Canyon is just going to live, and then Keen cuts down the Aurora, or would if he was the Lumberjack skin, but has a hammer with this particular skin, and therefore he bonks the Aurora out of the rift.
Ruler just lived for far too long there. And in the end, he doesn't even die. He just gets sent back to the fountain, and they get 200 gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was certainly a play. Just taking so much damage. Lehens chunked, Gideon chunked, Fisher gets chunked, and then, again, you have all this bulk. GENG can just stand on Adakan for, honestly, as long as they want. And all they do is wait for Chovy, and Chovy comes in, and he presses his buttons.
Yeah, and Lehens sort of incidentally dies while Chovy is looking to try and kill Giu. And this is what we were talking about. The teleport, it felt a little bit late. as Gideon really wanted to start this before Ruler made his way out. And I thought that maybe it was going to be enough CC, but this Impale was just too good.
Yeah. And again, Fisher comes in and gets the reset, but it's not enough. And then they look for more, but Chovy just finds him over the wall.
I've seen Chovy find people over walls like that.
A wall right next to the one he just found someone over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, it was that exact position that Smash was in, right?
It was Guma.
Oh, Guma.
Yeah.
Guma was in. One of the two. I don't know.
He was in the same position that I think he was a little bit north of where Fisher was.
Yeah. As Canyon is going to come down and help Chovy out here as Ruler over the wall, and this is a turret that is no longer on the map. 3.5k, now the lead in that mid lane that we were tracking before.
You know, I've been deliberating this one for a while, and I think I'm ready to say,
okay,
GENG are pretty good.
Whoa! An outrageous statement.
I think it's kind of bold, but, you know, I've been watching them a lot, especially, you know, the recent games, and I think I'm safe to say it. You may disagree. You may find me too controversial.
I do think that you are somewhat controversial. However, I'm ready to agree with you here, as Jiu is also under a lot of danger, as he has to flash. True Shot Barrage was too close. And now, this is Hextech Soul Point. GENG looking to try and pick that one up, as there is no chance for Nongshim to get in. So Hextech Soul for GENG, and it really feels like a death nail. You give Ezreal Hextech Soul, and it doesn't matter what his teammates are, it's already completely overpowered.
This game doesn't... It's weird, because it doesn't feel as bad as last game, but somehow it also feels worse, because at least last game you could point to the Diana and be like, well, you know. Yeah, Diana in this game.
Yeah, there's sort of no why, but there's also no hope.
It's looking pretty rough. The double tanks with Unending Despair, how are they ever killing
Oh no, they even just steal away the blue buff.
Oh, he gets the smite as well.
Canyon's going to be able to secure it.
It's post-Baron. Everyone gets the blue.
They did almost manage to kill his shield, and yeah, he's just going to pull the hands over. Special delivery of the Rakan as Jiu. He ults and dies. And Ruler picks up a double, 406 now for this Ezreal, 8,000 gold the lead. And it really just feels like GENG are on a whole different level.
It's just crazy that these two teams matched up in the LCK Cup and it went to 5 games. And then these 2 games today, it just hasn't even... leagues apart. It really feels like so much had to change for it to even be close.
And I think that that has a lot to do with GENG finally figuring out how this new roster is going to play together. I think Duro's improvement has been astounding as well. But I think that Nongshim are also having a little bit of an off day. There is going to be a bounty picked up. I don't know whether it's going to mean anything at all, as Keen is a brick wall. True Shot Barrage does so much damage, but it also slows them all down as Duro comes in looking for that pulverize. Keen actually taking a bit here, but the knock-up's going to be too good. Out goes Gideon, and Fisher is now just amongst the beefcakes.
You know, I thought he might die, and then his Unending Despair proc, and he didn't.
Yeah, and Kingen, we thought he might die, and he did.
Yeah. Keen is just, at this point, basically immortal.
And
Ruler's hunting for Lehens.
Yep, and Lehens is going to die, because he just doesn't have anywhere to go. The headbutt going to help out there, but I think the Mystic Shot was already going to kill. And Jiu, is he even safe on his fountain, is the question, as he's not. That's a Mystic Shot from Ruler one more time. 7-0-7 for this guy's Ezreal. Ruler having a really good day today. GENG just looking a cut above the opposition as they slaughter Nongshim.
And honestly, that game, I mean, it's a bit late in the day for a doctor's appointment, but it looked like GENG were late for theirs because they had somewhere to be. Ruler even very quick off the seat to go for the fist bumps.
Yeah, you can see Lens very respectful, and the fist bumps, of course, like a lot of these players have known each other for quite some time. And GENG, I mean, that was rough.
That absolutely was. But GENG, regular season, this is their forte. So no major surprise. If we're looking at teams who can take this Titan down, you know, the Bro matchup maybe coming next week. But,
so that is that Bro's next matchup or the one after?
The one after. So Bro play against KT and then they play against GENG.
Okay. So, I mean, they do have the KT respite. The problem is that one of our biggest matchups this week is DK versus GENG. And after this performance, and after their last one, of course, where GENG were able to win that epic 3-gamer against T1, things like this, GENG are looking absolutely like the team to beat here in the LCK, and DK are always question marks.
Yeah, but I feel like this is how we go into those matchups, and then D+ show up.
It is DK versus GENG.
And GENG just kind of, you know, aren't as clean as they normally are, but then often end up winning it regardless.
I'm looking forward to it.
An uphill battle facing against this team. That's nothing new. And it feels kind of just the status quo.
Yeah.
At the moment is GENG in regular season are very hard to beat. And there were some sick plays. I think ultimately we didn't see the level 1 play from Duro, but he has just been phenomenal today.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like when I was looking at GENG, I'm like, okay, this team trying to incorporate Duro into the shot calling system, trying to make sure that he's up to speed with the team and they can work as a unit. We saw some struggles in the LCK Cup, but I'm like, it's a year, you know, it's a long year. By the end of the year, I'm sure this team will look good. It's April. It's April, and they seem fine already.
It's
you know?
week 2.
Yeah. It feels like there was a whole arc ready. There was a training montage, and they just cut it short.
Yeah.
You know, we're done. We're ready now. Oh, okay. You sure? They're sure.
It wouldn't make a great anime. I feel like the payoff has come too early. You know, like the arc is supposed to be over the entire
You know what? It
season.
feels like sort of like solo leveling, where it's like, oh my god, there's someone who can beat. No, they can't. No, they can't. He always wins. That's how it goes. That's the show.
Oh, actually, it feels often with GENG, it feels like they're the antagonist in Dragon Ball Z, where it's impossible to do anything to them ever until like the last episode.
And they find a new, like, longer blonde hair, more blonde hair.
Yeah.
Well, they've changed it now with modern Dragon Ball.
And then Goku's arm, like Gohan's arm falls off, and then they're able to win at the end. And GENG fall down. But in the meantime, they are absolutely untouchable, and that's what it kind of feels like here today. And Nongshim just kind of wishing that it was once again the LCK Cup, because this version of GENG just looks nigh unbeatable.
Yeah. Looked a little rough. Kingen had an okay time. Redemption
Did the most damage in the game.
Yeah. Jace seeming better than Diana in the top lane. That's something we learned from today. We confirmed that. I'd rather see Kingen on Jace than on Diana. And if that isn't useful information, then maybe they didn't gain that much from this.
I think that is cup half full, kinda.
Yeah.
You know, I think bringing up the Diana game, that's on the cup half empty type side of things. However, the cup then gets a bit better when...
The cup was half full, then I spilled some of the water out of it. And I'm hoping that they won't notice, you know, but there's like a... This isn't half full, this is like...
It's a third full.
Barely a third.
Right, Duro's still going to pick up player of the match, though. This guy, amazing on his Braum, but absolutely extraordinary on the Alistar.
And no kill steals. That's really... This is why he got POM, more importantly.
Yeah.
You know, all those other...
Ruler actually sent a message to everyone that was voting saying it's allowed this time.
No Ruler would have complained if he'd stolen a kill as well.
Yep.
So I think definitely doing the true supportive role.
The classic. Duro is an absolute breath of fresh air here in the LCK. You love it when the young players do well. And of course, Duro is not like a rookie or anything. He did play, of course, last season or last year, but was still very, very new, right? And so seeing him come into GENG, a roster full of veterans, and playing this well and this assertively, it's beautiful to see out of the young man.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like the Blitzcrank game was really a sign of what was to come, but then today it just felt like more and more and really showing the potential this player has. And I think GENG feeling very happy about how their roster is in the moment, because he was the big question mark coming into the year. And even in the LCK Cup, there were some struggles, right? But to have things seem pretty sorted in week 2, you know, they've already taken down T1 and managed to close that one out, even though it was close. But it looks like they are going from strength to strength.
Yeah, they really are. I think Ruler as well has been playing better than a lot of people might have expected if they were watching a lot of LPL. I know that there were a few doubts about Ruler, but I think him and Duro together are also playing out their lanes exceptionally well in a lot of the games that we are seeing more recently of GENG. A great sign for the Tigers, but it is now time to talk to Duro, so let's throw it over to the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Duro on the side of GENG. Congratulations!
네, 오늘 승리로 이렇게 3연승이 됐습니다.
So
기분
with
정말
today's
좋으실 것
victory, you're
같은데
on
소감 한
3
말씀
wins in a
해주세요.
row. How do you feel?
잘하는 팀 세 팀을 만나면서 이제 3연승을 하게 됐는데
You know, we
그만큼
faced
저도
3 really
성장하는
good
시간을
teams,
계속 갖게
and we were
돼서
able
너무
to
정말 좋습니다.
secure 3 wins in a
젠지가
row, and just being a
하나생명과
part of that
T1에
and being
이어서
able to contribute makes me
전승들과
really happy.
농심까지
And yeah, you're right. From
감독님의
Hana Life
인터뷰에
Esports
따르면
to
룰러
T1 to
선수가
Nongshim,
팀 합을 위해서
you've taken them down
발전적인
all,
점을
and
좀
your head
공유했다고
coach actually
하더라고요.
mentioned that
어떤
Ruler was the one who
방송에서
addressed the team's
말씀하셨을까요?
room for improvement to
일단
increase the team
수업이
cohesion. So
없어지면서
what approach did you take in your
라인전이 많이
practice?
중요하게 됐는데 일단 라인전에 대해서
You
많이
know, with
얘기를 하게
the
되고
lane swaps and
그다음에
everything,
뭐
I feel like laning phase has become a lot
나중에는
more important. So I think this is
팀합
something that we
전체
have
위주로 얘기를 많이 하게
been
되는 것
taking
같아요.
a lot of time
그래서 이야기를 많이 나누신 게 티가 나는 것 같아요.
trying to
룰러
improve
선수와의
and
합이
practice
잘
and
맞아가고
also
있습니다. 어떤
team fighting
부분을
as well.
가장 많이 이야기하실까요?
Yeah, so what do you
초반이
tend to
너무
communicate
중요하다
with
보니까
Ruler about the
라인전을
most?
좀
Because
많이
of
얘기하게
how
되는 것
important
같습니다.
the early game is, I
그래도
think
듀오
we just mostly
선수가
talk about the
롤리나잇에
laning phase.
나와서 이렇게 룰러 선수가 좀 꼰대 기질이 있다 이런 이야기도 하고
In
가셨는데 그 이후에
Lowell
반응은
Park,
어땠나요?
or in during
제가
Lowly
제일
Night, you actually
꼰대라
mentioned
했는데
that Ruler tends to
당연히
be
엄청
a little bit
심하게
like a
부정적인
boomer
반응이 있더라고요.
그랬군요. 그래도
who
오늘 분위기는 아주 좋았습니다.
it's just getting in
요즘 듀오
everyone's
선수의
business.
폼이
So how did
심상치가
Ruler
않습니다.
react to that? You know,
지난
Ruler wasn't actually very happy to hear that.
활약을 하셨는데요. 오늘은 첫 POM까지 또
You know,
받아주셨습니다. 이제 젠지에 완벽하게
in the last match
적응하는
against
것
T1, you
같은데
did such an
스스로도
outstanding
경기력이
job with
올라오고 있다는 거
Blitzcrank, and it
칭찬하시나요?
looks like you're blending in with GENG perfectly
제가
lately.
되고
So
있는
do
거
you
아니에요?
feel like you have been performing a lot
어떤
better?
점에서 좀 느껴지시나요?
I think, yeah, I've been
LCK 컵
playing
때만
way
해도
better
제가 좀
lately.
많이 못하는
And
모습도
compared
많이
to
보여드리고
how I was
템포를 좀 많이 못
playing in
따라가는
LCK
모습을
Cup,
많이
where I showed a
보여드렸는데
lot of moments where I was
이번에는
lacking,
좀 팀에 잘 녹아드는
I think
모습들이 계속
lately
나오고 있는 것 같아서
I feel
만족스럽습니다.
like I am
오늘 뭐
definitely
슈퍼 세이브면 슈퍼
sort of
세이브,
melting in with the
로밍이면
team a
로밍,
lot
굉장히
better
좋은 장면들이 많았는데
and moving
그렇다면
as
듀오
a
선수 본인이
unit.
가장 마음에 드는 장면은
You know,
뭘까요?
today you had such great gameplay. So is there a particular one that you were happy with?
모습이 제일 인상
Yeah,
깊었습니다.
the moment where I saved
선수도 아주
Chovy
만족스러워하실 것
in the
같습니다.
top lane.
자, 그리고 다음 대결은 이제 D 플러스 기아입니다. D 플러스 기아
You will face D plus Kia next, and they're actually on a roll as well with 3 back-to-back wins.
계속
And you will
잘하는
face
팀들만
Beryl
만나고
next. So
있는데,
what is your
다음
resolution?
경기도
I feel
잘하는
like we're
팀이니까
just
열심히
facing
준비해서
all the great
열심히
teams, and the next
보완하기도 하고
team, D plus
그만큼
Kia,
노력해서 다음
is
경기도 좋은
going to
모습
be a very
보여드리도록
strong
하겠습니다.
opponent. So
감사합니다.
I want to make sure that we are
듀오
prepared for that one,
선수가
and so that we can
다음 경기에도 좋은
perform
모습을
and show
보여주시려면
up
다이언
just as
승리하게 되는 거잖아요. 그렇다면
well that we are
다이언 공약
so far.
한번 또 팬분들 앞에서 말씀해 주실 수 있나요?
Anything you want to say to your fans about to
겐지
reach
멤버십에 글
a
하나
fourth
올려드리도록
consecutive
하겠습니다.
기대해
victory.
보도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 3연승
You know,
진심으로 축하드립니다.
if we
듀오
get
선수에게 큰
to
박수 부탁드립니다.
secure our fourth victory,
감사합니다.
I will post
네,
on
이어서
GENG
분석 데스크에
Gallery.
나와주세요.
And that's the end of the interview with Duro, and back to the space. Thank you.